All right, we're going to the mailbag.
All right, mailbag time. Woo!
Question from Twitter. It was 5 quarterback battles that kind of have our interest going into 2025.
Yep.
Obviously, a lot of movement. Players going from the group of 5 to the power 4. Team players going from the power 4 to the group of 5. But first off, Blake's not on, but he wanted to share his. His was Georgia. Something he's really interested in that battle. Bama, of course, Michigan. Texas A&M, he's curious to see what happens there. I know a lot of people aren't talking about that, but is Reed going to be the guy? I know a lot of fans like him, how he played, but there's moments where they were really questioning his ability too. So what's going to happen there? And then the Oregon quarterback battle. I know a lot of people expect them, to be like the immediate contender in the national championship, the Big Ten race again. But Trevor, Dante Moore, I mean, he's coming. He's been there. He's sat.
He's the heir apparent. That's what he went there to be. Is the heir apparent, to learn and watch and see how they did things and have a year under his belt before he even tried to take the field.
Yeah, so
that was his plan.
Yeah, so those are Blake's. I'll go mine last. Do you want to throw yours out? Who you got?
Yeah, you go ahead. You can shoot yours. I'll go last.
Yeah, so definitely, I had Oregon as well, just because it's an interesting topic with what they bring in, and we know that they've got Dante Moore. He went to UCLA first as a 5-star quarterback. Everybody's excited about this guy, and then it just wasn't working great. I know as UCLA, things are different at Oregon, but is he still going to be that same type of guy, or did that time sitting and learning, has that really helped him? Is he going to be able to do what they need him to do to they want a national championship? That is a team that is hurting for a natty. And after they got their ass smacked by Ohio State in the playoffs, they're like, hey, okay, that sucked. We need to figure this out quick. Is he the guy to do it? Or you got Novosad also back. He's a 4-star type guy. That's been there for a couple years. He's ready and willing to go too. So I think there's going to be quarterback competition there. I know it's Moore's to lose, but something to watch for. If he does not live up to that hype, are they ready to go behind him? So that's one that I have. Obviously, the Michigan battle for me is, to me, not as cut and dry as Michigan fans are making it out to be. I think Keene's a fine quarterback. Obviously last year he took some more sacks, had a couple more interceptions than the 2023 season, but he's still much more competent than what we've seen in Ann Arbor last season. So if that's the case, he's coming in. He's got talent. He clearly does, but sometimes he forces the passes. He's got game experience, where Bryce Underwood's coming in as the number 1 prospect, loaded with talent. This guy's obviously a very talented guy, but is he going to be ready? He was an early enrollee. Mm-hmm. All these things, I know. He was at the bowl training, and that's all great. You need that. I kind of think it's going to be more of like a Cade and JJ scenario, where Cade started. It was a 2022 year is what I'm talking about, not 23, where or was it 2022, 21 maybe? Not the one where JJ took his job, but the one before that where they were interchanging him out. So I think that's what I would see is Mikey Keene's coming in. He's going to do his thing, and then Bryce is just going to keep chipping away at that time, as the season goes. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. How does that one play out? Bama's another one, of course. Huge competition there. I want to see what happens with Austin Mack. Is Simpson the guy? Or what about, the new guy coming in, Keelan Russell, another talented quarterback. And then Notre Dame would be the other one really that I'm looking at. I know everybody thinks that CJ Carr is going to be it. But Angeli's been hanging around too. He's played, he's got more experience. So I want to see what happens in that quarterback battle. Trev, what about you?
All right, I'll go top. Well, maybe not top, but we'll go with the reigning national champions. We'll start with them. Ohio State. I know people think that it's just Julian Sands' job. That's it. It's over. No big deal. But when you have the talent of Tavion Sinclair coming in, basically number two to Michigan's number one, as far as, or interchangeable. Literally, they are interchangeable depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
I don't think you can ignore that he is there in the quarterback room. And Ohio State may actually have the best quarterback room in all of college football right now, with the talent they have. As far as talent goes,
sure.
That I think it's interesting. I'm going to see how it plays out. More than likely, I still have it's likely that Julian Sayin will win the job. However,
what do you think about Kienholz? Do you think he might? No,
I just don't think he has the talent to compete with, one, Julian Sayin's accuracy, and two, Tavion Sinclair's athleticism in general.
Yeah.
I just think between the two of those two, I mean, don't get me wrong, Julian Sayin is very athletic. However, Sinclair is just off the charts ridiculous. But Sayin is really accurate. He threw a lot of great balls when we were watching him in the spring game.
He did.
He really did impress me with the way he was, how tight his spiral was, how accurate he was. I really think that he's more than likely the favorite for that one.
Sure.
FSU, they're interesting.
Yeah,
they're an interesting breed down there in the old Seminole Valley. So obviously,
after last year.
So obviously, there's a lot that needs to improve with FSU, and it really does start at the quarterback position. So obviously, it helps out a lot that Thomas Castellanos is coming over from Boston College. He's experienced. He does a really good job of like just putting the game on his back and really managing the offense, usually pretty well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he got a coach there that just is not a fan of that type of game, and he just kind of essentially got pushed out.
Yeah, just faded away, really.
Yeah, he just kind of got pushed out. But he's now reunited with the guy that initially recruited him to UCF in Gus Malzahn over down there at FSU, and I think it's a really good situation. So odds are he is the favorite to be the starter day one. However, I personally think that this could be a DJ Lagway situation, kind of like Florida had, where they had a guy who was sort of a veteran that started and ended up switching to DJ Lagway because he's more dynamic, gives them a better chance. And once they saw that in game, then it became a pretty easy decision. And I think that's a possibility with the young guy, Trevor Jackson, who is also dynamic. Right now, I have him third on the depth chart. I think that there is a potential for him to be the official backup and beat out Brock Glenn after spring is over, moving into the season.
Yeah.
So that's I think, like I said, FSU is really interesting because there's a potential where we just have a mirror image of what happened to Florida's quarterback situation happened to Florida State's.
I'll be curious to see if it goes down that way. I mean, anything's possible, and they need that spark. They need it quick.
They do.
And
they do.
If Castellanos is having issues, turnovers, he's had that before. Last year, not so much, but before, I could see some changes. We'll talk more on FSU later in another episode.
I have one more, last one, the one that we haven't talked about really, and that is Auburn. I don't think there's necessarily a big, because it's Jackson Arnold, but Jackson Arnold was not impressive. I'm just going to say it. He's a transfer and great. He's got experience. No big deal. Great. Awesome. He's just not that. They have a true freshman named Deuce Knight that there is a rumor that I've read multiple different sources saying that if he does not get to start, more than likely he will transfer. He is a Cam Newton style quarterback, meaning that he can run, he's athletic, he's big, and he can throw. So if at any point in time Jackson Arnold throws a dead duck, there's a likelihood that he loses that starting job to Deuce Knight. And obviously Peyton Thornton's still there, so whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people, really talking up that Auburn team this year. They're getting a lot of hype, behind the scenes, a lot of talk there. Real quick, I'll mention Georgia. Blake mentioned them, but is Stockton going to be the guy? I know he played in the in the playoffs. That's huge opportunity. He had a solid game. It wasn't horrible to say anything, but there's plenty of other talent on that roster. Obviously, the way Georgia recruits. So I think it's Puglisi.
Yeah, I think that's how
I probably fucked that name up. But then you got Ryan Montgomery as well. So we'll see what happens.
I had to Google to see if I could find out the pronunciation. I couldn't find.
Another one, Trev. What do you think, Colorado? I know Julian Lewis seems to be, he's a 5-star quarterback, huge talented guy, but I'm just curious. Caden Salter, he transferred there from Liberty, and I think he's a pretty damn good quarterback.
He's really good. I know,
but I know last year things were different. It was kind of another situation where he felt like he was like just not getting like what he needed or right. from the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And it just seemed off. So I'm wondering if, in this new coaching staff, that he's under, that one, it'll push Julian Lewis, but two, maybe it sharpens Salter back up and maybe he takes that job.
So you think it's an iron sharpens iron situation?
I think it could be. I don't know who's going to start. I think that's just something to keep an eye on because I know you bring in that 5-star and everybody wants that 5-star to be, hey, you better step in and be the guy. But to me, I'd rather have somebody with experience start off if they're good still. They obviously have to have the intangibles and all that stuff. If the 5-star is ready, let them freaking sling it. But I don't know. I like seeing it before I say, hey, this guy's going to be it,
Right. And I tend to agree with you. I just think that Deion is so darn high on that 5-star that I don't know if Caden Salter will get a shot.
That's fair. I mean, just the way, it's Colorado, man. They've been doing crazy stuff since he's been there. So we'll see what happens.
To bring in a guy like Caden Salter and then not have him start, I just feel like, what's the point?
Yeah, no, who was it from Oklahoma State that transferred to Ole Miss? Oh my God, that name's gonna kill me. Spencer Sanders. He was like starting quarterback, and then he transfers to Ole Miss to be the guy, and then he ends up sitting and I don't know. Yep. You never saw him again. He was gone, just done.
Yeah, he was gone.
Last one, just something that you mentioned pre-show, but Utah. Devin Dampier. He comes in. I thought that dude was special. I know you loved him from the video game.
I love playing with that kid. That was awesome. That freaking I think if he could do half the stuff he could do, I could do with him with a video game.
Hell, last year
I watched some of his highlights. He's to be New Mexico guy. Granted, he is 5'11", so we're talking like a Russell Wilson type player. Yeah.
Russell Westbrook.
This is going to be Westbrook. Just be like, whatever, I'm just mixing sports.
In that NBA, I don't know. I don't watch basketball, but either way.
You got it.
I think it's an interesting one there. I think he's a super talented guy, and Utah is a team that really wants to get back in that, hey, we remember who we are. We've won Pac-12 championships, very recently. We're a strong team, but they're finally out from underneath the Cam Rising shadow. And this could be an interesting one to watch.
Let's hope they just bring in more than just Devin Dampier at quarterback and have a backup plan.
And Isaac he did step in last year. He played some, but again, he was a young guy thrown into the fire. And when nobody trusts the passing game, they're just going to line up and hammer you. So trust me, we
didn't prove anybody wrong though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that they called them out on it, and then they got beat.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. You guys let us know in the comments. Like I said, Facebook, Twitter. We'll post it on our YouTube tomorrow. Let us know your quarterback battles that you're interested in. Group of 5 as well. Curious like Tulane. That's an interesting one to me. Even Oregon State. Getting Malik Murphy. To me, that's just an interesting move. I know he's going there to be the guy, but just things like that. Let me know what you guys think. And we'll comment back to you. Look forward next show. We got some more coming up. We'll talk some more Florida State. We got some talk about spring game cancellations coming up. So, we'll dive into all that. Throw us your mailbag questions. Trevor, anything else before we shut her down for the evening?
No, I really appreciate everybody watching. I see 53 of y'all watching our Kicking It With The Grid. We appreciate y'all. If you don't mind, go hit that like and subscribe button over on YouTube. It helps us out.
Yes, big time. Y'all. Sub on the YouTube. We appreciate it. All right, guys. We'll holler at you. Have a good night.
All right. Good night, guys.